I have a question that I would like to ask you today. Are you taking your vows serious? Are you taking your vows serious? And somebody may say, what do you mean? Well, when you think about the vows you take, and more specifically to my married couples and to the people that one day will be married, and there's probably some people on their way that they're eventually about to get married. And I want you to be real. And I want you to truly ask yourself this question. Am I taking my vows seriously? To the people who are going to get married, will you take your vows seriously? And if you're in the marriage right now, have you been taking your vows seriously? And somebody may say, what do you mean? Well, you know, when you think about when the pastor, wherever you got married at, and when they're officiating, and before they ask you, when you say, I do, and he says, I do, I want you to think about the words that they say, for better or worse. I want you to think about these people now. We all desire, most people, most men, most women, probably more women, desire marriage in their life. And you desire marriage. But within you desiring that marriage, do you hear the words that's being said when it says for better or worse? For better or worse. Not for just for better and things will never ever get worse, but it says for better or worse. And when you think about your marriage, can you truly stand and say, you know what? I stuck it out through the better and I stuck it out through the worse. Or could you be one of those people that say, I liked it when it was the better and I walked away when it got to the worst? You may have some married couples right now who are separated from each other because it was good as long as things was together, was better. It was strong as long as things was in the better. But when things got worse, it's that when everybody decided to walk away. And I can raise my hand because, again, it's easy when it's in the better. But for the worse, it's easy to walk away. I want you to think about when it says for sickness in health. For sickness in health. It doesn't say until they get sick or until they have bad health. It doesn't say that they better never ever get sick or they better never have bad health. But it says for sickness in health. And when you think about it, can you truly say, I've been sticking it out through sickness and in health? Or could you got to a point, what a lot of people do, they walk away? Could that very well be you on today? When you think about it, says, until death do us part. Until death do us part. Or could it be in your situation, until problems occur and I'm walking away? It's not going to take you leaving this world to do us apart. The moment you make me mad, that'll do us apart. If you don't do things my way, that's going to do us apart. And I think sometimes we all have to go and we all have to get in front of that mirror and do a self-evaluation. Because see, a lot of times, if we be real about it, it's easy to point fingers. It's all him. It's all her. And I know I was guilty of it. Pointing fingers. Nope, it's not me. Everything was on my husband. I pointed fingers at him, but I not one time pointed fingers at myself. And could that very well be you? See, the Lord had to deal with me. Because it's so easy to point fingers. And see, when you pointing fingers at everybody else, guess what? You can't see yourself. And that could be in your marriage, outside your marriage, on your job, outside your job. You too busy pointing. And you know what it is that everybody else is not doing. Or what everybody else should or can be doing. but do you know what it is that you should and can be doing? And that's what the Lord had to deal with me about. In the same way the Lord had to deal with me, could the Lord be very well trying to deal with you? Somebody may be on the brink of their marriage being on the edge. Somebody may be on the brink of going through a divorce. But could it be that you were so busy pointing fingers at the other person that you could never see yourself? You was too busy blaming them for everything. You could never see yourself. I want you to think about it now. It was for better or for worse, but you left when it got worse. And is it to that point where you need to come back and apologize and say, you know what, I'm ready to stick it out in the worst? It's good when everything is up, but when it's down, you no longer want to come around. And could that very well be you? I often tell people, the Lord had to teach me. The Holy Spirit had to teach me how to be a wife, because I knew nothing about being a wife. And I think a lot of us get in these marriages. You can read all the books you want and everything. You can probably go to all the counseling sessions you want. But you know one thing I realized, the good Lord just got to get his hands on every last one of us. And the Lord got to get us straight. And the Lord had to get me straight. The Lord had to show me. And maybe that's what you need to do. Because see, sometimes we so busy going to everybody else. We run into our friends to see what our friends got to say and what mama got to say and what the counselor got to say. And now we no longer even know what the Lord has to say. And we're too busy listening to what everybody else has to say. Now we can't even hear the voice of the Lord, what he's telling us. See, you've been so busy guided by everybody else. Now you can't be guided by the Lord. And it's a lot of people that I come across and that I know. And guess what? They listened to what everybody else told them they should have did in their marriage. And they're no longer in their marriage. And guess what? They got great regret for no longer being in their marriage. They got great regret because they didn't fight for their marriage. But guess what? Somebody else told them what they should do in their marriage. Somebody else told them what they shouldn't take in their marriage. Somebody else told them they better get out that marriage. So now they're no longer in that marriage. And they hang their head down because they realized it was a mistake getting out of that marriage. Could that very well be you? Are you one of those people that you too busy running to everybody else and seeing what everybody else has to say? But sometimes you need to just run to the Lord and see what the Lord has to say. Because see, most of the time, your friends and your family members and mama gonna tell you exactly what you want to hear. But sometimes you gotta go to the source who ain't gonna tell you what you want to hear. Sometimes you gotta go where you gonna hear it's you. You need to get yourself together. And what the Lord, number one, had to teach me about, you have to love unconditionally. Regardless of what they do or they don't do, you called to love. And love is such a strong word. And I think love is something that a lot of people say, but a lot of people don't have it. Because if we truly had love in us like we're supposed to, why do we easily walk away when things are no longer going our way? Because I once heard this woman say, marriage is not for the weak. It takes a strong person to be in a marriage. And the way that you get through a marriage, you have to seek after the Lord to do things the way that he wants you to do in a marriage. Not what you want to do in no marriage. And that was the biggest thing. It wasn't about me, but I had to surrender to thee. So when I surrendered to the Lord started showing me about my ways. And the Lord started showing me And when the Lord had to deal with me, and it may be the same way the Lord is trying to deal with you, because this is what the Lord had to tell me. Regardless of what your husband do and don't do, when you leave this world, you gonna stand for me for what you were supposed to do, not nothing that your husband was supposed to do. Somebody, man, woman, need to hear that right now. Whatever's going on in your marriage, whatever you may be dealing with in that marriage, and it ain't saying that that man is right in everything that he doing in that marriage, and it ain't saying that that woman is right in everything she's doing in that marriage. But when you stand before God, you gonna have to stand before what you knew was right in that marriage. See, you called to do whether they don't do. And that's what the Lord had to teach me. You called to do whether they don't do. And when you go back and think about the way that the Lord do with us, he do even when we don't do. He love even when we don't love. The Lord doesn't do us that way. But where are we so quick to do everybody else that way? So a lot of us, we need to go before the Lord, and we need to start seeking the Lord so we can be the best husband and wife that we're called to be before the Lord. And if you're thinking about getting married, and if you're on your way to getting married, know that you will have ups and downs in a marriage, but it doesn't mean you can't get through that marriage. I tell people all the time, go to the Lord about your marriage. Quit going to everybody else, putting everybody else in your business about your marriage, because everybody doesn't have the best for your marriage. And everybody is not happy for you to be married. Go to the Lord so you can be the best person that you can be in that marriage. And you can know whenever that person leaves the world first, you can know that you was the best husband and the best wife in that marriage. And if you leave the world first, at least you can stand before the Lord and know I did my best that I could in my marriage. If somebody's on the brink of the edge of your marriage, the Lord can bring back that marriage. But for every last one of us, man, woman alike, you got to be able and you got to be ready to surrender to the Lord so you can make that marriage work. You got to be ready to surrender to him in order to live for him. So somebody go to the Lord and seek the Lord and ask the Lord to help guide you to be the best spouse that you can be in that marriage. Things may not be perfect in that marriage. He may not be perfect in that marriage. She may not be perfect in that marriage. But guess what? When you seek the Lord can allow everything to work out the best way in that marriage. And then you start doing things God's way, you can have a perfect marriage. But what the Lord is telling you on today, and just like the Lord had to tell me, are you going to start doing things my way? If you want your marriage to work out the right way, you need to, number one, get out the way and allow me to do things my way. And could the Lord be telling you that on today? It's time for you to get out the way and let the Lord have his way. And some of us just need to go to our spouse and go to the Lord and say, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me for always pointing the fingers at you. Forgive me for always blaming you. Forgive me for always cussing you. Forgive me. Lord, help me be a better me. And we always want to be a better me so we can be the best me for eternity. So always remember my closing. Self-examination is the best examination. And Jesus Christ is Lord, and he's all we have. Have a great rest of the day.